Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Blot Talk. This is episode 5. We are kind of late on this because I forgot, but we're going to talk about the patch notes now. A good bit of time has passed, and we have a guest today because Zero is sick. So, son, if you want to introduce yourself and tell the viewers a little bit about you, go ahead.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Sangura. People just call me Sun, but I guess I play Chargers. So we're talking about the patch today and the pencil stuff. So I feel like that's a big thing that I could talk about. But I guess I guess if you're on my Twitter, it's just at Sangura with the underscore at the end. That's like the main thing I use, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
All right. So, we're basically just going to go through it. I don't know. This might be the shortest episode. Maybe this will be a bit more to talk about. We'll see what we can cover. So, first change is the Zap change, and I'll kind of clump the points for special one in here. So, Zap got made from 28 to 30 damage, and the 85 got changed from 190 to 200p. Do you think that there is any chance that this makes Zap comps a little bit more worth running over pencil stuff, or does this not matter? Jared, what do you think?
I feel like Zap comp's already like decent. It's just like Pencil's just the easiest option to run.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to run than just plain Zap. But it kind of helps it a bit. It helps it with like Rainmaker pop against like T-Tex and stuff since it has like the same DPS now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's just like a quality of life thing. I don't think it's like too big. The nerf for the points for special is pretty bad though. I didn't like that they did that honestly. When Pencil still gets it really faster because it can paint further.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't feel much different, I'm being honest. Like, you still paint a ton, you still get cooler decently fast. It's just pencil does it faster.
It does it faster and it can paint more safely. That's the only problem I have with it.
Yeah.
That's just me though. I feel like it didn't need the nerf.
I think it's mostly a Rainmaker is where it helps the most because, like you mentioned, the DPS to shield is good there. I think like if you're doing Zap comps, probably the best bet is like Firefin or Leader comps at this point. I think that is at least a little bit easier to run, but the cooler output does make it a lot more difficult. And we can probably talk about it a bit more when we get to like a wrap up. But I do think that like pencil comps being so much easier to run just in terms of your weapons and having a cooler weapon that's at risk of dying early and not getting its cooler just makes it so much more difficult, whereas pencil is so much less likely to like overextend and get picked off early just because of the nature of that weapon by comparison. And
Yeah.
I do think this buff helps, but probably not to the point it needs. Go ahead, son.
I think like the big thing that the special points change makes is that you have a lot of less gear freedom, right? Because if you want to have the same like special output, you're gonna need to put more charge. So I think that's like the biggest kind of nerf. Like it lets you fight more, and you have more consistent um four shot, right? Because the damage change. But I think the gear is the main thing. Like pencil, you can run whatever you want, pretty much, right? Because you don't need movement or anything. But Zap needs to actually be able to move in.
Yeah, I think pencil also runs like the highest amount of special power up. I see pencils do like 1.1 for the 21 duration instead of 19 seconds, and it's like that. Like
It helps a lot.
You get faster coolers and they last longer with pencil. I think it's just a huge thing, and like Zap can't afford to run like a maintenance sub of special power. It just needs too much stuff. So yeah, I think it's like better at least, but I think Zap comps are kind of best with Splatlings, and I think Splatlings are just not going to be pickable until pencil is like somewhat toned back. Because
I've seen Zap comps like Red Pencil, and I think that those are like decent.
Well, Zap
Whoa.
Red Pencil, yeah, but that's still pencil.
Yeah,
It's still pencil.
It's still the pencil. So yeah, but not. I don't think it. I think everyone can agree that we don't want the solution to blue pencil to be red pencil, right? Like,
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if there's much else to say about Zap, really. So.
No, it's just quality of life, honestly, and it's more of a nerf than anything with the points are special.
So I tried out the Dynamo change a little bit today, just like a pickup. It was mostly chill, but I just wanted to get a little bit of a vibe for it. I think this buff was the one that in the game is a lot better on paper, because on paper it just looks like the one-shot radius is wider. But from what I can tell, the cone was expanded. So that also means if you're outside of one-shot range, it seems to be doing a bit more damage to some degree. For me, what I've noticed is it's felt like, maybe it's a giant placebo, but it's felt like two shots are a lot more reliable as well. the damage feels like the closest to Splatoon 1 it's ever felt for me. Like, even better than, like, max MPU Dynamo in Splatoon 2. Like, if you were to just run meme gear with a bunch of it. It feels really, really consistent. And I think Dynamo's had 3 problems. The damage, the paint, and vertical flick. And I think this buff has fixed one of those 3 problems. And I think the paint is, like, okay. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of Dynamo and you just kind of don't use vertical flick ever. But I think Dynamo should just get a little bit better paint. Just give it a little bit more, and I think the weapon would be in a good spot. Like, it's in a spot where I think it's one decent buff away from being, like, a good weapon. And right now I think it's pickable for the first time in a while.
I actually think the same. I feel like the damage is fine. It's just the paint is horrible. It's just
The slight
horrible.
issue is like even if you give it a slight buff, it's still just so much worse at painting than so many other things.
Yeah, it
I
really
don't
needs
think its
to be
paint is
buffed.
that much worse. I don't think it needs, like, a huge amount of paint increase. I think a little bit will be enough.
No, I think it's
I
that bad for how slow it swings. You're painting so little, from what
You
I see.
if you have a pencil looking at zone, then you have a dynamo looking at zone, you know which weapon is going to get the
Paint
zone.
over it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you also have like if you're picking Dynamo, like it's probably your cooler option, so you have less coolers as well.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
why I think it needs, like, a paint buff. Like, because
Yeah.
I find the cooler output is the most annoying part. It takes a long time, and if you run out of ink, like, what I'm noticing a lot with Dynamos, I'll get, like, 80, 90 to cooler, and I'll run out of ink, and I have to wait out the white ink frames and the swing time and all of that, and it takes so much longer compared to, like, a zap recovering in, like, a bit or a pencil just tapping the floor. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's what I think would help the most. If it could just get a bit more coolers. I think Dynamo has to be ran with a bit more paint weapons than most coolers anyway. Like, I think Dynamo Dread would be something that'd be picked if Dread had, like, a different kit or something like that. But I think
Fall off
Dread's a good
damage.
comparison in general for this weapon because they both kind of have this, like, they're both kind of the AoE paint weapons in the game. I think Dread leans to more aggressive, obviously, but when I play Dread, I feel like I just casually paint the entire map while I go in and kill things. With Dynamo, I feel like I have to actively focus paint, and my paint is still worse than the Dread just messing around and just painting the floor casually.
Yeah.
I think, like, Dread should still have better paint, because that's kind of part of its thing, but it should be a lot more comparable, in my opinion. I think the gap between those two in paint quality needs to be lessened. So,
Yeah.
But Chara,
Um,
there's another dynamo with a painting special.
yeah,
And that one
sure, there is
sucks.
the Super Jump one.
But I think like the idea like nobody's really kind of played it at a high level, but like I've seen some people run comps where you have like 2 coolers and you kind of just try to like play a zombie playstyle with Dynamo. Like I think
Yeah,
something
you
like
could do
that is
QR
probably a
Dynamo.
good idea. Yeah, you
I
have
think
pure
QR
Dynamo and then you
Dynamo's
also
fine.
have Zap. Like you just cycle coolers. Like that's an idea. I don't know how well it would actually work at a high level, but I think that's like
I
a playstyle that it wants to use, right?
I think that's actually pretty good for it. Like, honestly, I think Dynamo functions a lot better when it's not the main cooler weapon, but I think for Dynamo to be, like, good, it needs to be able to be the main cooler weapon. I think the problem is the fact that it does need a second guy to also be cooler. The other combo
Yeah.
I think of would be Try Dynamo, because both kind of have cooler output problems more, like we'll get to try later, and they can kind of cycle between the two, and you get a bit more fighting capability there. Like, up close with Dynamo Try, you just demolish people. It's like a good counterpick comp, but...
What do you run with those 2 weapons though? Like, I'm so confused. Like a squeezer and what? A shooter?
Probably just Squeezer, and then well, I don't know if you even would need another shooter for that. You could probably run like something different, but like Squeezer plus something else. I'm not sure.
You have to be like a map specific thing, definitely not
Yeah,
like
that's the thing. I think
every
it's
map.
all very niche right now. Like I think it's all very niche theory crafting that in theory works, but is probably not worth the effort unless if you have like a long time dedicated Dynamo player on your team.
Mhm.
Those don't exist.
And then I think vertical flick is
They're in
still like
hibernation.
so. I think vertical flick is still so bad that they should probably just remove it, and it would buff the weapon. Like if I can squid roll and get a horizontal flick instead of a vertical, that's such like off a wall. I know you could do it on the floor. If you can like squid roll off a wall or squid surge with cooler and get a horizontal or like jump in and horizontal, I'm telling you.
Jumping in
that would be such a
horizontal
big buff.
sounds so good,
Like,
actually.
Jump in
Sick.
horizontal
Yeah.
would be crazy.
Splatoon
after
1
buff.
comes back.
But unfortunately, you have vertical flick. So, I mean, I think the difference between this and the other Dynamo buffs is I think this did end up actually being a decent buff, though. Like, I'm happy it did actually finally fix a problem. Like, 10 frames less white ink did not fix a problem. This actually does fix an issue with the weapon. I think we just need one more buff like this, and Dynamo will be fine. Like, I don't know. If we're not going to fix the paint, then like vertical flick has to be some insane poking tool, and then I think it could be fine. Like, I don't know, maybe it does like 60 damage or something, and you can actually shoot at people. But
It just needs to be faster. It's
It
so
just needs
slow
to,
for what it does.
yeah,
it just needs to do something. Like you have Stamper vertical that goes across the map, and then like Dynamo vertical flick doesn't even have as much range. So it's like
I don't think
There's
it
no
can be
point
a
to use it.
paintbot vertical either, because that's kind of Flings' thing. So I
yeah.
think it has to be different. That's why I think like damage, range, or maybe a bit of speed. But speed is also again how they buff Flingses. So like, I think it should be made more distinct from Flingsa, not more similar. But that's just my opinion. Speaking of Flingsa, Flingsa was also changed in this, and honestly, I haven't really seen anyone test this. But Flingsa got the same buff, and its horizontal is very similar to Rollers, so I'm gonna assume it's like Rollers, which is nice. And then it recovers ink a little bit faster after vertical flick. I'm gonna be honest. There are some weapons in this game I don't think should be good unless if they are reworked a bit, and Flingsa is one of them. I don't
Yeah, I
think
agree.
Flingsa's playstyle, unless if its second kit is like forces it to move forward, is healthy for the game at all. It's just a vertical flick paint bot. I want to see power taken away from the vertical flick and put into horizontal. And like this kind of does it, but it kind of buffs both. Like
I don't think it
think
needs
the
both
best
buffed at all, bro. It should
yeah.
not be able to kill with horizontal that well.
I think that like a different kit that would force it to be aggressive would be nice, but like I don't want vanilla Flingsa to be the kit that's picked. This is one of those where like if it gets a second kit that's healthy for the game, I'd love to see what they do with the weapon. But if it's like gonna be some garbage or other unhealthy kit, then like I don't care about the weapon. I don't want it to be good, which sucks because I think it's a cool gimmick. It's just right now the weapon is so into its vertical flick instead of
Yeah.
being about mixing both, in my opinion.
Like it's kind of a similar problem with pencil, which like we'll probably get to later. But it's like you get your vertical flick, and then you get your missiles, and then like sometimes it's just better to just stay back and paint than to actually go in, right? So it's like why take the risk when you get no reward?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, risk reward is
exactly.
such a big thing with that. Like, if you just have charge up and you can paint that much, why in the world would I risk going forwards when I can just get another missile?
Yeah, I think Flingses are more aggressive now, but I think it's because missile spamming has been weakened enough to where it's not good enough, so Flingses have to do it. I don't think they're doing it because the weapon's good at it. I think it's you have to do it to win. And I think it should be, yeah, they go forward and do horizontal flick stuff because the weapon's supposed to do that, not that it has to do it. So, anyway. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about it, though. I think it's another buff where, like, it's not really a major buff. Unlike Dynamos, which did affect it a lot more, I think these buffs are kind of, they don't really fix a problem. They're okay, like, you know, they're better than nothing, but like I don't think it really does much. Ink brush. So Jared is like a famous ink brush hater. So I'll let him talk first about this, but it has a little bit more ink efficiency on rolling, and rolling is a little bit faster. So
I don't think it changes anything. It's just an
you think the
annoying
weapon's
solo
still
queue
garbage,
weapon. Yeah, I think it's still
Already
garbage.
tilted there.
I
Yeah.
think it's okay. I think its kit is really nice, like the Splat Bomb and Killer Whale one. Like you get a shit ton of whales. And
I
it paints
think the
well.
hammer one's better than that one, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hammer on ink brush is actually crazy.
I think
like,
the
it's
hammer
so
kit's
annoying.
like a counter pick. It's like if you pick it if you're fighting the things hammer's good into. Otherwise, you pick the other one. In my
I mean,
opinion.
most people are only running like 1 or 2 shooters in comps, so it's actually not that bad into it, at least from what I see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I still think it's garbage.
What do you think makes it garbage though?
The fact
Just
that
the
it can't,
range?
yeah, the range. It can't paint safely, and that's what you want it to do. Even if you're going around, like these maps don't really want you to go like behind them. Like I don't know. I don't know how to
It
say
doesn't
it.
really have the roots that like other maps do to enable brush flanks outside of like
Yeah.
very rare stuff like Wahoo cheese.
And even then, it's so easy to see the flank because you can see the whole map from like one side. There's never like a situation where you can't see the other side of the map, so you're always aware if the brush is gonna flank or not, which makes it pretty weak in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
I
then
do.
Squeezer exists and you just beam it.
Also, I think I can hear your game audio through your mic right now.
Bruh, no way.
At least I did for a second. I think it's fine now. I don't know though.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway.
Or it's just like a vacuum cleaner. I don't know.
Yeah, or it's something else. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, I think it's a cool way of buffing it. At least I think it being a little bit faster is good. I'd actually like to see the same thing for Octobrush. I think Octobrush should be rolling a bit faster because Octobrush is way slower than Inkbrush, way more than you might think. So I would like to, if this is a buff they're experimenting with that might be put on Octobrush, you know, like the roller hitbox was put on these two. I would love to see this on the other brushes. So I think it'd be much more impactful for Octobrush.
It'd be
think
good on
Octobrush would be
Octobrush.
like. I think Octo Nuvo and V Octo are both pretty decent right now. So I think
Yeah, I
a
don't think
little
they're
bit of
bad
a buff
weapons
would be good.
either.
Their kits are just like pretty decent. Like now that Rain has like good synergy with Brush, just because like that's why I think the roll speed buff would be impactful because you just roll around to dodge shots. So if the roll had actual ink res, like Ink Brush did, you could roll in your Rain. You wouldn't take damage from like going through enemy ink, and you would be healing like you're in squid form. So like if it rolled a bit faster and had the ink res of Ink Brush, then that would be a very strong combo. So I think it could be cool to see for that kit, and it would obviously be nice for the other one. So yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
Oh, the Brella buff. We'll start with Spot Brella. It basically went from 15 to 18 shots. The shield's still the same, but the shots, you have more of them, and with 2 subs of Ink Saber main, you get 20 shots, which is actually about like base Splatoon 2 levels before any of the nerfs was 20 shots, and you can get there now with 2 subs of main Saber. Your shield is still more ink hungry, but the shots actually feel like pretty like better in that regard. I do think it's nice. I think it's a lot easier, the main way I notice it at least, it's a lot easier to get jetpack, and it's a lot easier to run charge up and special power together on your gear because you don't need as much main saver.
Yeah, less
So-
gear dependent.
Yeah, and I think Brella did need, like, Brella's still very gear dependent, but I think ever since it got jetpack, like, less gear dependency is kind of what it needed to be in a better spot.
Yeah.
But I still think it's like Dynamo, where I think the weapon does, like, now it's shielding and, like, being able to exist on the map for a while and stall properly works, but it still doesn't have the damage. And, like, for Dynamo, that would be the pain. So it's another weapon where I'm like, I think you give one more buff like this, like maybe a bit more of a tighter spread, maybe you make it 180p if you don't want it to be a fighting weapon, maybe you revert the damage change, like something decent like that, and I think this weapon is like actually pickable. I don't think latency affects it that bad if you're playing in like your own region, like if you're US fighting, or NA fighting NA, or EU, and all that stuff. So
I don't even notice the latency when I run into JP Brillas. It feels like the weapon just
well, yeah,
works.
because we're in Cali, but for
yeah, you're
people who
right.
are like across the US, it's like for me, I have less latency with Japan than I do with Europe. I notice it whenever I play. I don't really deal with much lag when I go
Yeah,
against
same
Japan.
here.
But against Europe, it's really bad. So it's just the part of the continent we're on. But I do think it's like people joked about how bad the latency was because like with the bugs it was. But honestly, I feel like it's just as consistent, if not a little bit more than S2. I don't really have a huge problem with it. I think it just needs a little bit more damage.
Yeah, I think it's
same
fine. I
thing.
think like these changes would like, because like you don't even run stealth on Bell. Like that's how much gear you need. It seems like a really
Mhm.
good idea to like not make the weapon broken, but like make it more fun to play, I guess.
Yeah.
Like maybe they can keep doing changes like this in the future to weapons that are kind of like, if you buff them too much, it might be broken, but just small changes will really. At least the quality of life changes are the biggest ones.
I don't even know if giving it 90 damage back would make it like broken.
It wouldn't be broken for sure, because like the counters to Brella are way better in this game. Like in S2, what made it broken is like on top of that damage, if you were a charger, you would have to like break the shield, then break its ink armor, then kill it. But in this game, there's no armor step involved in that. Like
Yeah.
Brella with armor was what made it a fucking mini raid boss.
Yeah,
I
that was
think-
ridiculous.
I think in this
I
game, it
loved
can
it.
have 90 damage because the counters to it work. Like if you fight a good Brella, you just counterpick it. Like you pick shit like blasters and chargers. And those weapons are actually good in this game. So you can pick it. Like you can literally do pencil plus range, and it's really good into Brella. Like even if Brella had 90 damage, I think that comp would be something that makes you debate wanting to switch off. Especially because what I think balances it even more is the main things that counter Brella also counter jetpack. Like chargers and blasters also demolish inkjet. So because of that, like I think you can give it the damage back and it'd be fine. But I don't know if Nintendo is okay making it that good again. I think they would not do it. At least not all the way. I could see them giving it like a bit of damage back, but not the same, which I would still be okay with. I just think it needs a little bit more.
Yeah, it needs a little something.
7
I
to
can
6
see
pellet
them-
kill would be good.
I can see them buffing the shield health or making like sword and stuff do less damage to it.
I do not think they should do that. I think its shield HP is already good.
Even against swords and stuff
Honestly,
like that.
I don't think swords are that bad a matchup. At least Stamper. Wiper is admittedly really difficult, but Wiper is not difficult because of the shield damage. Wiper is difficult because its mobility and range means it's impossible for you to hit it. And when you hit it, you do pea shooter damage because of that. Stamper is like, it can fuck up your shield, but also it has to be so close to do that that you'll probably be able to kill it. I don't think it's that bad a matchup. and I haven't seen any JP brawlers really struggle with it either. So like, I
How many
think
shots
okay.
does it take for Pencil to break Umbrella
3.
Shield? Okay, that's not that bad then. Never mind.
Pencil is like a bad matchup, but it's not like I think the only horrible matchups for Umbrella are Bamboo, E-Leader, and S-Blast 91. Those are the only ones that I think are like -2 because S-Blast can 1 shred your shield and 2 it's literally the easiest thing to hit over it ever because of the blast radius, and then Bamboo can shred it and E-Leader can break it without full charging, which is so dumb.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was a buff
crazy.
they gave it a bit back in S2. It's very stupid. You can literally partial Brawler shields with Leader. I hate it. Why? That's so fucking stupid. So, you know, I think it has counterpicks. So yeah, TLDR, give it 90 damage, Nintendo. Smile. Undercover Brawler. It's got the jump height.
Top 1 weapon.
I think Undercover's
Yes.
kits are some of the worst kits in the entire game. Even if the weapon
Not
is
true.
good and the weapon is not good, I think the kits it has are terrible. And I don't know
They're
what the
good.
fuck they could do other than giving it like Burst Bomb Cooler for a third kit. I think like the weapon is just actually doomed until it gets a third kit. I don't
I don't
think
know.
it
I think the
matters.
splatter screen one's like decent.
Nah, I think Screen is
Really?
maybe if they make Screen good, then sure. But like
But
Screen
screen is
and
not bad.
Undercover has so little synergy.
I don't know, I'm a screen
Just-
believer. That's just
Can
me
we
though.
get some undercover damage buffs? Same thing as Splatbrella. It just does no damage.
Yeah,
It's like a piece of air.
Can I like the fact that shot shield still doesn't kill? It's done 95 damage since the weapon came out. Come on, bro. Like it's so
It's like-
depressing.
It's just a light thing of air just flying through the air, and that's it. It does no damage. If you're in a fight, you can just look away from it, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The weapon needs something. It needs some damage. It needs some movement. It needs some buffs for Screen. Screen isn't as bad as people think it is because it's just on 2 weapons right now, and both of those weapons just one is terrible, being undercover, and one just has a better kit.
Yeah.
There's like no reason to pick foil over V Squeeze right now.
I wouldn't say no reason to pick it over, just very little. I think Squeezer with auto is still kind of crazy, but I think like
It's
you're
good, but,
comparing
like-
Zuka to Screen and it's like not there.
Yeah. But give Screen some time, I think it'll be like a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't, but that's my opinion. I do not see Screen taking off until it gets a buff.
Well, you know, a buff and different weapons, but it's so new to the game right now
We'll
and
see.
controversial at that.
Yeah.
Screen is also new, but it's also not like the special is hard to use, but it's hard to get value out of compared to like Crab or Zuka. That's just like less consistent. And
There's
you have
more
a weapon that doesn't
downsides
do
to it,
anything.
I think. Like compared to any other
Yeah.
special in the game.
Like
Mhm.
Squeezer, you're getting your special like not that often, right? Unless you're just like farming the enemy team. But if you do that, it doesn't really matter if you have your special or not. Like you have something like let's say 4 times a game, and it's like sometimes it just doesn't do anything. It might not be useful.
Okay. Anyway, Undercover is still fucking doomed though, so.
Terrible, sadly.
Cool buff though, it's fun. Like the jump height's fun. It's like a little silly. I'm like not hating it. It's just like this is one of those buffs where it's like I would be cool with it if it was alongside like another buff, but by itself it's like wow, that's it.
Undercover my
Okay.
silly origami weapon.
So next up we get to the nerfs for the main weapons, and our first nerf is to the Squeezer. It gets from 45 to 41 shots on its tap fire mode, and it paints very slightly worse in its painting mode. I think these are possibly the lightest nerfs in the entire series. I don't feel like Squeezer is any different. I think it's still
I
broken.
feel the paint's really bad, but like
The paint
you're in
felt
the-
bad before.
yeah, but they made it feel like actually like really fucking bad now.
I don't know. I played with Squeezer pre-buff, and it would still paint less than me on range. Like, is it really that much worse than even that? I don't know. I guess, like, I think the main
Kinda.
effect is the Zuka output I do kind of notice, but, like, it's not that bad. Like, with Cooler, it still gets Zuka. But to me, like, Squeezer just feels like you're playing a completely different game. Like, I feel like Squeezer has legitimately 0 losing matchups. Ever. I think that
Yeah,
gun
I
is,
agree.
like, the way I describe good weapons, like Range Blaster when it can get in spaces to space effectively, feels broken. Stamper, when it can like get its combos off, feels broken. Squeezer existing feels broken. Like, it doesn't need a position or anything really other than some paint from its team. I think it just feels broken regardless. You can be running down people like a shot, you can be spacing them like a blaster, you can be playing around your wall like a gal. It doesn't matter. It feels fucking broken every single time. And then
And it
Zuka
just
is
got a
so
nerf,
crazy.
and it doesn't feel it at all. I mean, it feels it a little bit, but it's still really good.
I think Squeezer needs more nerfs. I'm gonna be honest, and I'm a big proponent to not nerfing stuff, but I think Squeezer is not like. I think Squeezer needs to be more like how they nerfed Stamper's efficiency. Like actually gave it downtime. I think if Squeezer is gonna be this crazy insane gun, then yeah, using wall should fucking hurt, and it should actually have a ton of downtime.
I feel like
what
it already
think
does have a
needs.
ton of downtime though.
I
but
don't think
think
its
any of that
downtime. Its
recently.
downtime is not that bad compared to other ink hungry weapons. I don't think it's that big a deal. My personal nerf, I think it should get wedding frames, a second of them.
Ooh.
When
That would be my
shooting?
nerf.
Whoa.
Though no, sorry. To clarify, only on the tap fire. So you can go
Okay.
into painting mode and then go and recover your ink back. But I think you have to stop shooting at someone, like fighting with it, and then wait a second, then recover your ink. I think that would be a tangible weakness where, like, if you take a fight, you have to watch your ink tank because you can be stuck, unable to use your tap shot mode. I think that would be a really unique way of balancing it because, like, no shooters have impactful whiting frames. This would be the only one. I think it's a cool way to tone it back. And then if you manage your ink efficiency well, you can still be good. And on top of that, Squeezer doesn't have any gear dependency anyway, so I think it should have to stack some ink efficient abilities on it. Like, I've seen Squeezer builds with like 4 mains of run speed. Why can they afford that? That's crazy. They should not be able to do that. That's
That's fair, actually. Yeah.
Thoughts on that new up and coming Squeezer player?
Oh no, I agree. I feel like it should be a bit more gear dependent, but they just need to nerf the ink efficiency more. Like they don't need to give it whiting, just make the shots way more expensive. It shouldn't be
you could
spamming
do
for like
that.
5 seconds straight.
Yeah.
You could do either, and I would be okay with it. I just think 9% when Stamper got 30 is like really hilarious.
Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy. But
I still think it should be good though. I like Squeezer being good. I just think it's too good. But I think
yeah, I like it being good
gun.
too. Like I feel like it
It's
keeps a lot
such
of
a-
weapons in check.
High skill
Yeah, I think
ceiling.
Squeezer being good is like something really good. I don't think Squeezer should be the best weapon in the game, and sometimes it feels
Yeah.
like that.
It's one of those weapons that I think should be. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
like just like the what's the word? Like the things you have to be able to do that some people just can't do to like play the weapon. I don't think a weapon like that should be the best weapon in the game necessarily, right?
Yeah.
But if you're like good at it, you should still like be rewarded.
And you could always just whip out the turbo controller, bro. What's stopping you?
I think
Jared, thoughts
like
on the
Squeezer,
accusations,
Squeezer is a
Turbo?
weapon that I think should be like top 15 to top 5, but not like top 5 and higher. It should not be a top 5 weapon. I think it should be like a top 10,
Yeah,
top
exactly.
15. That's how I feel. Like that's how
Yeah,
I
I feel
think
the same.
range is right now. Like range is not top 5, I think, but it's like close. I think that's where Squeezer should be. So still a top tier, but not like a you can pick it literally anywhere tier. I think there should be stuff that goes off.
Yeah, that's fair.
So let's talk about the most unnecessary nerf in Splatoon 3's history, probably, outside of like the stamp change, I guess, but even that one was understandable. Ballpoint, so specifically, its degree of spread in the grounded mode is from 1 to 1.5. Which, like, here's how I say it. It's not okay, yeah, Jared's a ballpoint hater. I think like it feels like it's one of those where it's like, oh, that's not that bad. That's like a tiny amount of spread. But if I'm a ballpoint fighting a pencil and one of my 4 shots miss and I take 5 frames longer to kill the pencil, I'm fucking dead. It's over. So like it won't affect you, but I don't think it's a very small chance it should affect you. It's not going to be a lot of your fights, but that chance should be fucking 0. It shouldn't be there in the first place. Like, I don't know why we did this. It doesn't make sense. The weapon's not picked. Like,
this was some like Harvard tragic dev that got abused in the ballpoint meta that just had to make a change for some reason.
Jared
the weapon was fine.
Developer patch notes to nerf
the weapon was fine.
Any slightly nerfer, I don't mind, bro. I fucking hate that class.
But like,
it did not mean
my biggest issue is just picking BP into pencil was already hard. Now I feel like it's completely not worth it.
It's
Like
not
outside
worth
of
it. Even
very
just like
specific maps on Rainmaker, that would be the
I don't
only
think that
place I'd
nerf
do
makes
it.
it not worth it. I think we're overreacting a bit here.
Well,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
Well,
I
it
don't think
wasn't
the
worth
nerf
it in
is
it's
the first
so
place.
much harder to play BP
Yeah.
comps in a pencil. Like, why would you invest into it unless you're like a mega dedicated ballpoint player?
I think the main point is that like people weren't picking it before, so it's like why are we nerfing it?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's
that's
what
like
I
the-
think as
that's
well.
the
Like,
main
I think
point.
there were
Okay, that
very
doesn't
few
make sense.
people trying it anyway. So like now they're especially not going to.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. Is there anything else we want to say about the ballpoint nerf? I think it's
Nah.
nah.
like maybe make the weapon 200p again if we're gonna keep that. I don't know, something like that. I'm just gonna. Okay. Stamper. So Stamper charge / paints 10% worse, which means it officially paints worse than horizontal now. It was already pretty close, but now it 100% does. I've always been a proponent in coaching that like you should be painting with horizontal anyway because you have like double the ink efficiency on that flick. But now I like the nerf. I think it's cool. I think it tones back crab spam, and it means like if you want to paint for yourself and paint far away, you do charge /. And if you're like painting for special, you horizontal. So it adds a bit more depth to the weapon. It reduces a bit of special spam, and it's not that drastic a nerf. So like I'm cool with it.
I've heard JPs were complaining about that for so long that Stamper paints too much, so I think that's why they addressed it
Yeah,
in this patch.
I'm
I
fine
like
with it.
it.
I don't think Stamper.
Yeah, I'm fine with it too.
Stamper's not really a real painting weapon before anyway, but I don't mind it painting worse. I think it's fair.
Yeah,
this
it
won't
still
be the
paints
last
good
one.
anyways.
I
Yeah,
mean,
there
it
might
might
be
hurt
another
it in
Stamper
Turf
nerf.
War, but might hurt it
Well,
in
in-
Turf, but like
No, in Turf 4 you use horizontal in your caster especially, so it doesn't even matter there. You always horizontal, because you get more ink efficiency, so you stay there and can paint even more than you already do, so like it doesn't matter.
yeah. It just feels like a nice little change. I mean, you have to be better now at Stamper to use it, so
Yeah. I think the main thing is just you have less painting range, effectively, and a bit less paint total. But like when you're using horizontal, you don't paint as far. So Stamper is not going to like turf over people at its max range as much. So there's going to be like other mid-range weapons like Squeezer and stuff are going to be able to like not get turfed over by Stamper when fighting it. I think that's
Yeah.
like a good change to make other mid-range weapons be able to move more when fighting it. So I think it's cool. Because I don't think like Stamper 70 like missing you but painting your feet and then you get comboed to death has ever been fun. So
Yeah.
I'll skip the specials for now because they're probably the thing we have to talk about a bit more. Points for special. Let's lightning round. Neo Sploosh. No one cares, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no one cares.
Cool.
I
Yeah.
care. No, I
Forge Pro 200. This is another
Yes!
one where it's like, okay, I think if Pro gets like a decent buff, I think this could actually be a weapon you pick now. Like, I
In
don't know what else
TC.
they would do, but like a little bit more, and I think, yeah, TC and zones mainly, but I think it's like,
Mhm.
Pro is not that bad now. Like, the painting buff plus 200p means it does actually get it special. I think it just needs a little bit more, like a tiny little extra.
Yes.
Like
Yes, let's hear it, Pro
190p,
mains.
190p, or a bit more shot velocity, something like that, you know. Just don't
Where are
buff
my
the
Pro
mobility,
mains?
don't make it faster. We did
Where are
too
my
much of
Pro
that already.
mains? Yes.
Luna 170. I think Luna's still hard outclassed by Try. I'm gonna be honest. I don't care.
And a lot of other things.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I think the K Luna kit is better anyway. It's really hard to get caster value out of that Luna because it's so short range. So I think I'd rather have the Fizzy because Fizzy is so good for Luna. Bamboo 190 I think is actually pretty important. Same for Zimmy. I think these are like counterpick things. Like if you have someone who plays Bamboo, they actually get a lot of whale now. And then Zimmy can like if you're counterpicking a bubble, I think Zimmy is a lot better to pick. I don't think it's major, but I think these are more impactful because these weapons already got a good bit of their specials before. So I think them getting a little bit more is a positive change.
It's not major, but I feel like we're one whale buff away from being in an incredibly tragic
Yeah.
meta.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
Whale is like my number one should not be made good special ever. I don't even like how good it is now.
I know,
Same here.
because like if it gets good, we're in a global special meta
It's
again,
literally missile meta,
and time
but
is a
worse.
flat circle,
And
and
yes,
it could
worse.
very well happen.
The reason I say it'd be worse than missile is because you can pop whale and die with it and retain the charge.
You get to keep it.
So dumb.
And now imagine you have a cooler. Well, guess what?
And you can literally use whale, the 2 beams activate, you die, and you have 90% of the special, and you instantly get another one. What the fuck?
I already think it's really good right now. I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, I think it's good, but it's
Yeah.
not like super
Yeah,
good.
but like
And I hope
one
it
buff
never
away from
gets
super good.
there.
I feel like it just
Anyways.
wins you team fights when you pop it at the right time.
Yeah, I think it's like the absolute highest level of good it should be. Like
Yeah.
at maximum. I don't even think it should be this good, but it's not like good enough to be unhealthy yet.
Yeah.
But if they give it like another small buff, I think it's gonna be too much.
Okay, side tangent over. Next weapon.
Yeah, fuck whale, by the way. Bring back, just
like-
replace it with OG whale. OG
When you
whale
play
better.
against Bamboo and Brush, like what's that like? I think like Robbie and Red
Yeah,
Rum,
the fucking
and that is
red
so
rim pickup.
annoying.
Oh my
They-
god,
they-
that
they
comp
play
is
rock that-
annoying.
Yeah, because they whale you from 360 degrees. Like, where are you supposed to go?
It's
Just
just
die.
part of me is biased here because I play like range and dread, which are slow as shit. But I play against that comp, and I literally like don't want to play the game. Like it's one of those comps that
Exactly.
makes me like, oh, thank God I'm coaching and I'm not actually in that game because this is just not fun.
He's
Like
taking
I
his
would not
balance to the
enjoy
bench.
being a player in this. But it's not gonna be fun to watch either. But at least I don't have to deal with it.
Fair.
And then Splattershot is finally fucking 200p. We finally reverted the unnecessary
it.
buff we did a long time ago for no good fucking reason. Let's go!
We
Should
did
be
it, Jared.
210,
It should
but
be
you know.
210. It
Okay.
absolutely should be
Yeah.
210.
We'll take what we can get, Jared.
Also, can we fix Zuka? Can we fix the Zuka startup?
Nah.
We gotta fix that. Zuka startup is not balanced. I've played Dread, and I've panicked Slider at a similar time to someone panicking a Zuka, like very slightly after, and the Zuka will shoot across the map and kill me first!
That
Why?
might just be a reach slider problem.
Now,
Yeah.
Reef Slider has the lowest amount of startup out of any panic special in the game! It's faster than Booyah. It's faster than Kraken by a lot. It's like 25 frames. And you can still get fucking outdone by Zuka. Why? So, yeah. I think it's dumb. 210p shot and fix Zuka. Yay. And then finally is the other cooler nerfs we didn't talk about, which is try 210 and edit 200. I think edit is fine. It doesn't really change anything, and edit got a lot of coolers, so I could see it being a problem if pencil was fixed. I think try is like unnecessary. I think try kind of feels, even with LDE double fizzy, it feels like you get too little coolers now in try. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either on try. I did not need that nerf at all. It wasn't even being that used that much in Koshin anymore, so I don't know why they did that.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I didn't mind try being toned back a little bit because the main weapon is kind of overtuned for what it does, but cooler output was not a problem it had. So it
Yeah,
just feels
not
like
at all.
that, like, okay, maybe reduce the range by the tiniest bit or something. Like, sure,
Anything.
that's fine. But like, why the one part
If-
about it that's balanced?
If we're just nerfing the cooler output, why are we nerfing the try and the edit and not the big Crayola marker pencil one that can do it all? I don't understand the devs' thought process at all.
Yeah, and I'll let Sun talk about this for a little bit, but it's like what I said in my patch video, and I'll repeat it here. By nerfing the other 3 relevant cooler options, you have subsequently made pencil better. This patch effectively buffed pencil. And I'm not even talking about red pencil, which got an actual buff with Inkstorm. Like, blue pencil is literally better in this patch than it was last patch. What the
How's that
fuck?
possible?
And they
I
buffed
didn't
it in
think
the
that was
worst way
possible.
imaginable. They're just making it more spammy, but talk about that after.
Son, what do you think about pencil? Why don't we talk about
Oh,
this
just,
fucking
like,
weapon?
Okay, so like, I think like pencil can actually be like fine if you're just like we kind of talked about with things that right where it's like you have high reward for just sitting back and doing nothing, and it's like why take the risk of moving forward, right? I feel like that's kind of the like the ideology that the weapon should be balanced around, and right now because it's just so good at spamming cooler that I never get to play the game. I'm just sitting in the back always like painting the map.
I
It's like-
feel like when you're coolered, you should be fighting though. I feel like pencils have that in their head that they should just be statuing, but they don't have to. The weapon can push up and be oppressive as fuck. I
I
won't
mean,
lie.
it can,
Yeah,
but
I
it
agree
doesn't
with
do
you.
it enough. I think it should have to do
saying-
that more.
Yeah, I should have to do it more. I agree, but
Yeah,
it can still
even, like,
do
you're
that
right.
really well.
That's what I try to do. It's but you said it yourself, right? It's when you have cooler, and when you don't have cooler, then you're just getting cooler, right? So it's like the weapon is really fun when I have cooler and I'm able to go forward, but I don't think the whole like game plan should just be relying around doing the same thing over and over again. That's what I kind of don't like. It's very one-dimensional playstyle, and I hope that they can give it like they can like change its pain or like give it more points for special, and then give it like movement. I think movement is the biggest thing. I think charge hold might be a little bit too broken, so I don't know about that. But
Yeah, do
like
not
being
give
able
it
to
charge
like,
hold.
yeah, being able to like move forward and fight people, especially because you have the long charge time, like it's like close to leader, I think that would make it so people actually fight more when they're not coolered.
I still
Yeah, I
think a
think you
range nerf
mentioned-
is best. Yeah.
I feel like they need to nerf the bullet size so it has bigger bullets than the
The
rest
bigger
of the
bullet size
chargers.
is the most overrated thing ever. You guys don't. The
Yeah, I don't
bigger
think it's-
bullet
It is
club
not
size.
overrated.
No,
It's not.
it's a tiny amount. Everyone thinks
Doesn't
it's
matter.
way
It's
bigger than it is.
it's
I have a
it's
visual
so
for this.
noticeable.
I have a
It's
visual
very
for
noticeable.
this. I'm gonna put it in our chat because I don't think I can show it. But it was
Okay,
posted
but-
earlier, and I'm not saying it's nothing. But I think people don't understand how little the buff is. So I'm gonna put it in Blot Talk and I'm gonna DM you. The green part on the edge is the hitbox extension. That's it.
I saw the video too. Like I wasn't.
that
I'm not
green
just
bit
like.
is the
Yeah, go
only
ahead.
extension. That's it.
I still think it shouldn't exist. I feel like most charges have big bullet sizes that they shouldn't have.
I mean,
But that's just me.
I think, well, they don't have bigger bullet sizes. What they have is it can go around terrain easier. That's why that stuff happens. Here's the image for chat. Like, that's why that happens. Like, E-Leader can more easily, like, not get cut off by terrain because the shot is, like, the bullet itself is small. That's why it wall bangs a lot. That could be adjusted, but that's not the same thing. In my opinion, though, like, the bullet size, sure. But, like, I don't think the bullet size is the main problem with the weapon.
No, I'm not saying it's the main problem. I feel like
I think
there's
if you're
other
adjusting
problems.
it, it's paint and range. Because if it has less range, it's easier for splatlings, especially to fight it. That's why I want it to have less range. Because I think if pencil is like splat charger range instead of splatter scope, it's much easier for a ballpoint or a heavy or a jet or something to find situations where they can shoot it down. And it also reduces its paint range. So pencil has to paint up closer in general, and it's going to be in more risky spots. And it'll output less cooler at the same time. Everybody wins.
Yes.
So, you know, that'd be cool.
Quick thing I wanted to mention, what Son talked about, like the risk reward. Sure, you want your pencil player to push up and to take that space when they're coolered or when they can, but the risk reward of pushing up and dying as a pencil is so hard because like if you're moving up and imagine you don't have a cooler on, then having your pencil player die and not having that cooler output is so detrimental, and the risk is just too much.
But the good
that-
pencils would be able to make that risk and
Well,
have
that's
more
the thing.
impact.
The good pencils can work around that and they know how to work around and do well with that. But the players that are playing pencil because it's so dominant right now don't need to push up and they don't need to take that space because it's so good at outputting cooler that if you just stand as a statue with it, it can work. And that's just such a problem with it. It reminds me of S2 Vija.
Well, to
Yeah,
me,
I
it
think-
feels like, how do I say this? They're not playing it correctly then, and they're not getting the value they should be. They're
They're
just
not getting the value they could be, but it still works good enough.
I think
Yeah, so I know
Shadow's
what
point
this
is that
is.
like,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
or you okay, I was gonna say like Shadow's point is that like yes you do more by moving forward when you have cooler and like taking those higher risk fights. But I think the problem is that you don't have to do that to win. You don't necessarily have to play
Yeah.
perfectly to win. And I think like the weapon, like it's a charger. You should be hitting your shots if you want to do good, right? I feel like that's kind of the point of like the weapon class, right? So it's like you shouldn't be able to win just by sitting back and spamming. That's what I'm trying to say.
well, I don't think you would win, at least at high level. That's just
Yeah,
me.
but that's the
Well,
thing. The amount of
I'm
levels
not-
where that it becomes a problem is like literally the very top. That's the
Yeah.
issue. And like on top
It's
of
the
it, it's
very
more,
top.
which means that except for pencils who are like at the top 0.0001% of play, they don't get forced to have to play better like that. So you can get away playing really poorly and still getting disproportionate value, which is like VJet had the same problem in S2 where like if you were a high-level VJet player and you never walked forward and all you did was paint and spam missile, you would still get enough value to be like a high-level player. Pencil has that problem right now. Like, not as bad, obviously. But it's still there of, like, the play that's not good enough to win the best tournaments still gets you way too close to winning them. That needs to be fixed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it teaches people how to play the game better, and it encourages a poor playstyle for, like, the majority of your getting better experience.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So yeah, fix pencil.
Yeah.
So, there are two more changes that are a bit more special. They're kind of like the highlights of the patch. I have a whole video on them coming out soon, by the way, so you guys
Ooh,
can look forward to that. But for the
I'm
time
turning on
being,
notifications.
we can talk about it, get a little bit of a preview for that. For the live viewers, the VOD on second channel will probably be later. Let's start with Wavebreaker. So the way the Wavebreaker thing works is it's basically a giant point sensor, about 2/3 the radius of the waves themselves, and it comes out pretty much instantly when the wave is thrown, and it locates people for 1.5 seconds. That is the buff they gave it. What do we think of the buff?
So
I think it's really good.
great.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think it's cool.
It's nothing groundbreaking, and Wavebreaker's still kind of bad,
Yeah, it's not
and
good.
it doesn't do much, but boy is it cool.
The way I see it, like the one thing it does is kind of like, say you're rounding a corner if you're like a range, or if you're an E-leader, you're like checking a shark spot. You throw the wave and you don't have to wait like 3 seconds for the first wave to scan the area. You just get it scanned and you know instantly. So if you're like a range who wants to round a corner, you just throw the wave and round the corner right away, where normally you would have to wait. Same for like E-leader, you instantly find the guy sharking and play off it. I think
Yep.
like the buff mostly affects it in a speed buff. It's more, you get more instant value. You don't have to wait to play off the special, and because of that, you have more time to play around the waves. Now the problem is the waves themselves do like basically nothing, so it's still shit. But it's like nice. The way I'd say it is like if you're a weapon that's already pretty good with wave, like range leader, maybe a little bit of VDS, I guess, then like those
Not
weapons
really.
care. But any weapon that's like not a good weapon already or even decent that has wave is not going to be picked because of this buff.
Yeah.
Maybe heavy would be the other weird case of like, but I don't even think it's good enough for heavy.
I don't think it's good for heavy at all. You have to charge afterwards. Like you're not
Yeah.
gonna get immediate value anyways. But, it's just okay.
I
It's a
do
nice
like it at
swap.
least. Like I think it does tie into the special's identity. It's cool. Like
Yeah.
design wise, I'm a big fan. But
Design-wise,
buff wise, this is another
great.
thing where it should have been this buff and then another buff. But we only got this. I think it needs more.
Thumbs
Yeah, I
up.
think it needs more. So
Yeah. Make the waves a little bit bigger so they're a bit harder to avoid or something. Or give it a little more HP so it doesn't instant die to E-leader or
give it both.
Yeah, or both. It should get both, who am I missing?
Yeah.
Throwing range is a big thing as well. Like you can't even throw that like anywhere.
Yeah, but I don't think they should buff that because I think that would be a bit more unhealthy territory. I don't think wave should be able to be like yeeted super far away. I kind of like that
Yeah.
your wave has to be
Okay.
near you, especially now that it's also a point sensor. Like I think that would also make that worse. They could also make the initial point sensor timer a tad longer, like 2.5 seconds. I think would be good, but I'm not opposed.
Yeah, I feel like
to
it
not
should be
changing
longer, but does
Mhm.
bomb defense affect that or no?
No, it's a special. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then finally is Inkstorm, which is the healing buff. I do like this one a little bit more. I think it's a little more impactful, and it's also Rain was kind of already decent. Like it wasn't an amazing special, but it was fine. Like you could pick it and no one would really question you. I think it's enough to make Rain like in a good spot. And I think it's good to have more depth to what's usually been a little bland of a special. But buff wise, I don't know. I think it's just awkward to pick rain weapons because none of the rain weapons have a bomb, and most of them are anchors, which means they're competing with the blue pencil, which leaves only really one weapon that doesn't have either of those problems, which is Nautilus. And I think Naught's pretty good right now. I think Naught's like a lot better to pick, and I think if you're picking
Yeah.
things like Crab or Brellas or Brushes or anything that benefit from the rain healing a lot, then it's more worth picking a Nautilus with it.
Nautilus with the big ups from the patch. And the storm isn't that like insane, but the fact that the Nautilus doesn't have to deal with, the 70 or the horizontal, not the horizontal, the vertical from the sword. Nautilus can fight a lot more of the midlines now, and the rain buff just helps that even more.
I think Knott's main problem has been mid-range matchups, and I don't think it has very many bad ones anymore. Like, I think
Yeah.
Squeezer, Sword, and then Range and Rapid a bit, but I don't even think the Blasters are that bad a matchup for Nautilus, honestly. I still think they're winning for Blasters, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're that bad. I think the only matchup that's that bad now, and then, yeah, like you said, Stamper isn't as bad a matchup because it doesn't pain you as much anymore. I think the only matchup that's really horrible for it is Squeezer. I think it's much easier to pick it, honestly. I think we'll see some
Yeah, I think not hella good. I've always thought it is.
Yeah. I think we'll see more of it. I think it's like a
Gonna
solid.
get its respect that it deserves since
Just
S2.
not players don't like the kit because it's kind of boring, but I think it's better now. Also, we gotta pay respects to 2 Splatoon 2 rain kits that would have gone hard with this rain buff, but don't exist. Brella, imagine
And
being able to shield.
CDS.
Well, CDS too, actually, 3 of them. Sorry. Imagine
Oh.
being able to shield and have healing if you had
Oh.
if you had rain on the OG kit.
Second kit, please, or third kit, please.
Yeah, I hope we
forgot
get
one.
rain on
I
the
forgot
third
the one
kit.
that Tri-Strike existed.
CDS for its dodge rolls, and the third obvious one, ballpoint. Ballpoint
yeah,
would be
I
able to
didn't think about
stand at
that.
long range and keep recharging, and it would heal. That would be crazy. You don't have to
I
go
don't know how
back
much-
into your ink. You could just keep recharging and standing and firing. You just go behind cover, but you don't lose the whole charge. You just go behind cover
yeah,
and heal
you're
in a
right,
second,
yeah.
and then peek out and shoot. Like, it's a huge long range buff for that weapon. Huge. So, third kits, justice for these. And then the only other thing left to talk about with this patch is the stage, Mincemeat.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think the argument for Mincemeat before was always like it's a fun counterpick stage, like you see some weird stuff there. I think that you basically just have the same argument. I think the stage is still kind of... I think it's a lot better on clams now. I think Zones is a bit better, Tower's a bit better, and Rainmaker's a bit better.
Like, it's just better. Like, there's
Yeah.
not a single negative about it, but
Yeah.
it's still not that good. But it's just better.
It's like a
It's
a
better
better
than what
stage,
it
but not
was.
by enough to like make it be picked to me.
It's
Yeah.
a counter pick stage. I think that's a good way to like put it.
Yeah, I think like
Mhm.
if you do a zones only event and you do like a 12 map list, like Mincemeat will probably be included. Whereas before, I don't know if you did, but like that's the only real use case. I think
Yeah.
you don't pick it in the other modes. Ren says they think clams is worse off. Well, maybe because Crack and Cheese works on it now. Yeah, I could see that
Yeah,
part.
crack and cheese.
I also think like zones.
People
at least in
didn't realize the
solo-
meta for Mincemeat was actually Reef Slider. I've never talked about it, but you could Reef Slider cheese from the left car. It was the only cheese that worked before the...
Yeah, that's the only way to get in.
It was the only way to score in pre-patch Mincemeat clams.
Mhm.
Get left car slider. Now you can do it with Kraken. So, yeah, I think Kraken's a must pick on Mincemeat clams, but I still think it's better that people can actually fucking score.
Sony and nerfed that special, by the way. I don't know how they haven't.
They need to just
Yeah, why
fix
is
its
it-
special
They'll nerf that
interactions with the
special.
objective. I don't think the special as a whole needs a nerf. I just think Kraken cheese shouldn't be a thing.
I just don't think you
Yeah.
should be able to pop Kraken in your spawn and still get to the basket. Like it moves way too fast.
I mean,
That's
I don't
so
care if they
dumb.
get to the
That's
basket. That's fine
perfectly
with me. I
balanced.
just think the Power Clan player should not be able to go jump to it. Like, if the Kraken guy is by himself there, then whatever, who cares? But, like, now a guy with the Power Clan is also just here. Instantly,
Nah,
because of
it's-
QSJ. That's dumb.
That's fine. Balance probably. Anyways,
I think like the at least for zones though, like the Mincemeat, like solo queue specifically, this is not to do with like comp or anything. It feels like fighting against Elite is so much worse on that map because they added so many like small like what do you call them? Small like blocks or pillars that they
Yeah,
can
and
hide
those don't
behind.
actually block
It's
Charger.
Yeah, it's so bad, especially like if you're playing like we talked about the hitbox thing where you can't really shoot behind walls because you have a bigger hitbox. It's like leaders become so much better there. I don't think anybody has like talked about that.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, something else I wanted to mention
Oh, yeah,
about
and the zone is
Mincemeat
small now, so you
is
can
the
cheese
fact
it.
that the zone is smaller. Reef Slider cheese is easier now, which is not ideal,
Mhm.
but E-liter used to be sort of a pick on Mincemeat zones, and now it is less so because
Nah, I think
there's
it's still crazy there.
it's still good, but Pencil can paint the zone easier and now has a gigantic pole in the middle of the map to put the sprinkler on, which
Yeah, it did kind of buff
for
Pencil
some
on it.
reason is there now, and it increases Pencil's paint and like ability to get the zone by itself by even more, which it did not need in the first place. Like leader is still good there, but I feel like it's a lot harder to if you're fighting leader versus Pencil, it's a lot harder for the leader to get that kind of value.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's fair. So yeah, overall I rated a bad map rework. We probably should have gotten a little better. My take, I think we should want reworks to maps that are already kind of good now. Like I want reworks to like Mako or Umami or stuff like that, you know, that's already pretty good and would make it better. Because that's how I feel about Mahi Zones, you know? And Mahi Zones was good, they made it a little bit better. That's what I want for like some of the other stuff.
I might sound crazy, but I feel like the Mincemeat rework was better than the Mahi one because I felt like it made the other modes playable while
Oh yeah, well
really
Maki
isn't.
Mhm.
Tower Rain and Clams was an abysmal failure. I think it's
Yeah.
actually okay on Clams to be fair, but Tower Rain ain't a
Nah,
failure.
that was a flop.
Mincemeat
think
zones is
Clams-
like still kind of the same, but the mincemeat zone or the mincemeat modes, all the other modes are good.
I feel like
Good-
with the
good
map design, they have certain like, even if they rework the map, they're like, that's how I feel about the Maki other modes, where it's like, okay, yeah, but we made Tower have this trench, so we're not gonna take it away because we already made the decision. That's the same thing with Mincemeat, where it's like, we made these cars unpaintable, so the cars are not gonna be paintable in the rework. You still have to go through mid, because that's how we built the
Awesome.
stage originally. And that's why I'm like, that stubbornness is what worries me about what they'll do with the map rework in future. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear my dogs going crazy outside. I can't do anything about it right
It's
now.
okay.
My dog's going crazy. The pencil is still meta.
So, as a whole, I critiqued this patch. I called it bad when the notes came out. I will say it's not as bad as I thought initially, but I would still call this a bad patch. I think my time later doesn't change. I think I'd still call it bad. I think these changes barely did anything. And while I'm very happy with the design changes for the specials, and I think it's the big win of the patch, balance-wise, it didn't really do anything. I think nothing really changed. I
I
think
feel like the past 3 patches haven't done that, so I don't know.
at least this one put a bit more groundwork into, like, if they buff like a Dynamo or a Brella or a Wave Breaker or like nerf Squeezer a little bit more, at least some of the work is already there, and I could see
Yeah.
it being more impactful next time. But it should have been more impactful this time. It should have happened now. It shouldn't have taken this long. It's so funny, like S2 and S1, I felt like they overdid things. And this game just has the opposite problem, like every attribute. They don't put enough kits in the game. They don't do enough with the stage changes. They don't do enough with the balance changes. Like, it's the exact opposite problem. We've gone too far in the other direction, and now it's just anything that needs a change just happens at this fucking snail's pace. Before we did it too much, but now we're like, it takes like 6 months for something to be fixed properly, if it happens at all. It's just like kind of sad.
Pencil
Yeah.
is still the
It's
best
also-
option.
The nerfs are also like
Yeah, I still prefer it to what
necessary
happened in S2, but like just because we were eating dog shit before doesn't mean eating like a little bit less of it isn't a problem still. I don't have a good analogy for this.
I don't know about that one.
So it's like
All right.
I get it. It's better than it was in S2 and S1, absolutely, but not by that much, honestly. I
feel
just want we should strive for better. I have higher standards. I will not lower them. I will keep the. It's to avoid over nerfing stuff. Well, yeah, it's to avoid over nerfing stuff, but now the problem is we don't give anything meaningful buffs. Like, Dynamo has gotten like fucking 10 unmeaningful buffs in a row, and we're finally at the spot of like, yep, one of its 3 problems are fixed. And that took like years to get 1 out of 3 problems fixed.
I think they're just
That's a fucking
scared
problem.
of changing the meta, which is weird because like I feel like for most of the patches, like the new season patch doesn't change that much, like besides the new weapons, and it's like the mid-season patch that actually changes the stats, right? Like that just didn't happen.
Yeah, and
So-
that's why I'm worried, because of the patches where they add content, they use as an excuse to do even less with the balance changes. Like, we got
Mhm.
basically nothing last time, and I'm really worried we're gonna get basically nothing again. So, like, at least there needs to be some sort of pencil or Zuka or Squeezer nerf in the next patch, where it's
I
gonna
mean, we'll get new kits next season, so surely something has to come good out of that. Surely.
Maybe we'll finally get a short-range good inkjet option in the game.
What is there left?
Well, hopefully we get one that's not 52.
I
One that
don't-
isn't bad.
I don't know what else is left. Like, actually, is it just 52?
Buff Brella. We could buff
Red
Brella.
Ringer.
Buff Brella.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Make Brella.
Yeah.
Brella could be the jetpack one. We could have also put it on fucking End Parry and not give it triple splashdown.
Yay! I love.
If 52
Splatoon.
ends up getting
Yeah.
if 52 ends up getting like fucking fizzy jet and End Parry got curling and splashdown, I don't know what to do. Like, I will just be depressed.
I don't know why they brought back Splashdown, bro. I'll never fucking understand it. Oh wait,
I
Glue
like
is
the
their thing.
splashdown rework, but I don't like it on End Parry. I'm fine with it on Blaster. It works on Blaster, and if they buff it, it'll probably be good. But it doesn't make sense for End Parry. It doesn't combo with it. We took away 70 damage. So why did we put it on End Parry, which does 30, and does not combo?
Why is
I don't know.
Why is this
The
splashdown
kit
even slow?
synergy is not there!
If they gave Enzap 30 damage, to give Emperor 30 damage, or does any do 30
End Parry already
damage?
has 30 damage.
It does. How does it not combo?
Splashdown
Is it-
needs to do 70 to combo, but in this
Does
game
it do
got reduced.
68?
It does 60 in this game. It did 70 in the previous
Wait, that was
game.
ass. What the
They
fuck?
nerfed it down so it doesn't combo.
Bruh.
It combos with the curling? No, it doesn't combo with the curling, actually. The curling does 30 and the bump does 20. So it doesn't combo
Wait,
with any of it.
is this 60 for like the outside hit or?
Yes. In Splatoon
Oh,
2,
okay.
there was a 70 hit and a very small outside 55 hit. In this game, it's just one giant 60 hit. But, like, the 70-55 was way better. So, yeah, buff Splashdown. I hope Splashdown gets, like, a bunch of nerfs reverted next patch, but it's probably going to be, like, only one of them. It's going to be something small.
They're
And
not
can we
gonna do
fix
anything
Splashdown
to it.
Super Jump while we're at it? Like, Splashdown Super Jump is pathetic.
That thing's
in this game.
awful, bro. It does nothing. I
see
literally just
players
wait
yeah,
until I
you
hit the
just
ground.
land and then pop it, even if you
Yeah.
die, because at least then you have an actual splashdown.
It's so bad.
I've had like a good super jump splashdown kill once. One time I had to pop it and I got a double, and that was the only time. Like one instance of me using that special when I tried out Custom Blaster that actually worked with super jump. Anyway, we're off topic, but yeah, the patch was whatever. Hopefully they fix stuff next time, and there's some silver linings. There's some decent stuff in here, and I'm hoping that this patch is like maybe a sign of things get better. Like maybe they'll see the positive reception of like storm and wave changes and do more of them. Maybe they'll see some of these changes being well received and do more of them. It's mostly cope, but I hope. So, you know, that's my hopes. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add. If you guys don't, we could probably wrap it up here.
We
Nah, I
did.
don't have anything else to add, honestly. There wasn't
Pencil
that
is still the
much.
best. Squeezer got nerfed, and it's still the best.
Squeezer
Sword got
number
nerfed,
2.
and it's still almost the best.
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
like the
Mincemeat
way
got
that
reworked,
they.
and it's still kind of bad.
Yeah, son?
I was gonna say like the way that they're buffing like wave and storm, like the changes are really small, but I really like that the way that they're going about it, like not just buffing the numbers directly, like they do it like half the special in the game is like, oh, make the radius bigger, and then we just have zone keys, like actual changes that like help classes that like are what's the word, like we're not just like buffing shooters, right? We're giving weapons that don't have such good movement, like ability to fight in the rain, stuff like that is like really cool. Like
It's like a
hopefully they can do more
creative.
stuff like that.
It's like a creative new utility change that can be appreciated even if you don't care about the balance as much.
Yeah,
And it's also
like,
nice
not-
because a lot of the special balance changes they've done have been negative design-wise to me. Like, I hate how Tri-Strike functions now. I hate how Slider functions. I don't like Vac Cheese. I think they could have, like, a lot of specials I see buffs and I'm like, we could have done this in a better way.
I hate all the cheeses, bro. Like, I don't know why they're in the game.
I don't know why they buffed
Like
radius of everything.
Swiss, Mozzarella.
Because this game doesn't have armor to be annoying and raid to be annoying and instant startup to be annoying like S1, so they were like, yeah, we gotta have something to hate with specials in this game, so we're gonna make like 4 of them cheese specials.
They all just don't interact with the objective healthily. It just ruins the modes, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I agree.
Like, where's the strategy? Oh, let me just get this guy alive for like 5 seconds and he pops a broken special that messes up the objective. It's just like, bruh, what the heck?
Yeah. They're overtuning specials in a way that makes the game annoying, not better. Yeah, you said it best, Ren. Like, that's why I don't like it. Like, originally I thought Tri-Strike was pretty smart design, and they could just go with it and make it better, because it was like a displacement special with a lot of counterplay and stuff. But then instead of like, you know, slightly tweaking the amount of counterplay and stuff, we just made it insta-kill all the HP specials and Touch of Death and Cap Zone, and now I hate it. And it still
Yeah.
feels shit when someone's next to you and you can't do anything.
Then they kind of quote unquote fixed it by adding coolers, so it's like you rely less on your specials. Now it's just like you go feed, respawn with your broken special, and then instantly get the
This
zone. or
this is the
whatever. Like,
best
it's
part
so
about
dumb.
Cooler that doesn't talk about. If there's no Cooler, you're fighting like another Killer Whale or another Tri-Strike or something. Like, thank God. Also, like imagine fighting Zuka, and if you die to random double Zuka, you don't have special saver. You just fucking lose the game. Like, the special design of this game is way better than 1 and 2, but the missteps are like still depressing. I think I would rather have Splatoon 4, even if it means having less specials. If we just go like, okay, we have a lot of specials, we're just going to pick the ones that are designed well and bring them back and have less specials, I would prefer that. I would very much prefer that.
I don't even think the devs know what is designed well, in my opinion. They don't know what they're doing.
I think they do because it has gotten better. as like dumb as some of these decisions are, there has been positive trends to the point where I think they get it. I just think it takes a long fucking time, but I think it is happening. My thing is though, like every Splatoon game, they've kind of reset the amount of specials in this game. This is the first one where they've actually brought stuff back, and like I think they need to do that more because there's good specials to bring back now, a lot of them. Like I don't want stuff like Crab or Jetpack or fucking Zipcaster to never be in another game. Like these specials should be brought back again. They're way too good to not keep them in the series. That's
interesting
like,
take.
I want stuff like that brought back. The downside is, of course, if we bring back more specials, we could also bring back like array and stuff. But I think when we know specials work and we know they work for the game, we should keep them in the series.
Yeah, and yet they brought back missiles. What were they thinking?
I still think missiles was a filler special. I think here's my crazy theory, okay? I have no evidence. I think Triple Splashdown was originally supposed to be the extra Splatoon 2 special, but they couldn't figure out a way to rework it in time to make it good, so instead they chose Missile. I think Whale, because Whale was originally so close to Missile, and Whale was there from day one. I don't think Missiles was ever part of the plan. I think they needed an extra special to make it 5 from Splatoon 2, and Splashdown needed more time, so they pushed it back.
I love when they rush things.
That's my theory. I even think Kraken was supposed to be there on launch. And
Really?
Chump.
No.
I think those specials were probably supposed to be there as well. I don't know what in place for, but I think Kraken had to have been planned for a while. Missiles were in the OLED trailer. The OLED trailer build, like the first trailer and the OLED trailer, are not the same build as every trailer that came after it. That game is probably just modified Splatoon 2 or something like that. So missiles being there doesn't matter. Like, that wasn't actual missiles. The first real hint that missiles were in the game were the updated special power icon in the 4th trailer. That's when we should have noticed. That's the soonest I can say they probably were putting missiles in the game.
Oh, I didn't even realize. Yeah, special power is a fucking missiles icon still. They didn't change it.
Also, I can say about Triple Splashdown. Triple Splashdown had basically nothing in the game's code until it came out. That's part of why we know it probably took a lot of time. Whereas Screen, by contrast, if you've seen my video talking about the Screen data mine, we pretty much knew what it was. Like, we knew it's a giant wall smoke screen for like months before it came out. I think that's a stark difference.
So what are the chances that they just didn't know what to put for the special power symbol, so they were like, okay, well, we have to keep missiles?
Yeah, I think it could, like, even, that's what I'm saying, like, even that could be missiles weren't ready by then. I'm almost certain missiles were a filler special, just because, like, Splashdown, at the time they were making Splatoon 3, was, like, hated for being shit. So, like, they understood that, because the rework addressed it, obviously. And even the Slider rework addressed it, because Slider is a Splashdown rework, mostly. So, like, I think they did learn, I just think it's not there. So, I think missiles were put in as filler, in my opinion. I think it was not intended. I don't think we would have gotten it if it wasn't rushed. And because of that, I don't think it's going to come back in the next game. I think I'm pretty safe to say I think...
I don't know what they're going to do for the next game, bro.
Oh yeah, we're far out from that, so who knows. But I think the good news is now, hopefully, with the game to learn from, where we, you know, brought back... Because, like, this game brought back probably the devs' favorite specials from both games. That's probably what influenced it a little bit. Now we brought those back, we tweaked some of them, and we can go from there and figure out which work and which don't. I just don't want a hard reset. I don't want another Splatoon 2. We have a shit ton of random specials, and most of them are horrible, like, design-wise. I want us to at least be sure that we have some specials that will work. Like, that's what I saw when I saw, like, Crab or Zip. Like, I saw them in the trailer, and I knew that, like, okay, maybe they'll be overtuned or undertuned, but they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be healthy for the game from day one. And they were. I still stand by that, even with Crab meta. I don't think Crab was that unhealthy. I really don't.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
But you can see stuff like Zuka, and it has a problem from day one. Because of the startup. Same for, like, Zone Cheese and stuff like that. So, you know. I hope we learn. But who knows? It probably just depends on how rushed Splatoon 4 is going to be. And that probably depends on if Splatoon 3 will get content extension for the new Switch. If it won't, if it doesn't, then, like, I'm expecting Splatoon 4 to be rushed out the gate to get a Splatoon on the new console. But my hope is just extend DLC and then take our time with Splatoon 4. That would be nice. Especially because I don't mind being in Splatoon 3 for a lot longer, honestly. If they balance it a little bit better, I could stay in this game for a while after content's done.
Well, wouldn't mind if they brought League back. that's kind of what kept me playing in SC was
Brought
League.
what back?
League.
What?
You mean
League.
open
Like open
with
twins.
friends?
Oh,
Twin
league.
squad.
I thought you said
Yeah,
lead.
No,
My bad.
League.
Yes.
You mean open with friends?
Yes. If they brought back league, that would help. But yeah, I think that's everything we have to cover today. So,
Yep.
that's our thoughts on the patch. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Thank you so much, Sun, for joining us and helping us out.
Yeah,
and
yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We'll wrap up
Awesome
the
having you on.